Good afternoon, dear students. I am a teacher of Ақтөбе High Polytechnical College, Akzhigit S.B. Today, our lesson theme, describing the symptoms of stress. Today, we will learn more words to describe the feelings in stressful situations. Guess the meanings of stress idioms. Practice listening and reading skills. Talk about different stress symptoms. So, what is stress? Stress is a natural reaction of our body to life's change. Stress is the way our bodies cope with the environment. Stress is a great worry caused by particular stimulus. Cause of stress. People react differently to stressful situations. What is stressful for one person may not be stressful for another, and almost any event can potentially cause stress. For some people, just thinking about a trigger or several smaller triggers can cause stress. There is no identifiable reason why one person may feel less stressed than another when facing the same stressor. Mental health conditions such as depression or a building sense of frustration, injustice, and anxiety can make some people feel stressed more easily than others. What are the symptoms of stress? Stress can affect all aspects of your life, including your emotions, behaviors, thinking ability, and physical health. No part of the body is immune, but because people handle stress differently, symptoms of stress can vary. Symptoms can be vague and may be the same as those caused by medical conditions. So it's important to discuss them with your doctor. You may experience any of the following symptoms of stress, like headaches, constantly feeling tired or worn out. Emotional and behavioral symptoms that may indicate the necessity to cope with stress includes the following: poor memory, poor concentration, mood swings. Why do people have stress? The death of a close person, divorce, like parents' divorce, loss of a job, lack of money, meeting deadlines, getting married, moving to a new home, new city, new country, chronic illness or injury, guilt, low self-esteem, traumatic event such as a natural disaster, theft, and car accident. Now, let's watch a short video about stress and its symptoms.
Are you sleeping restlessly, feeling irritable or moody, forgetting little things, and feeling overwhelmed and isolated? Don't worry, we've all been there. You're probably just stressed out. Stress isn't always a bad thing. It can be handy for a burst of extra energy and focus, like when you're playing a competitive sport or have to speak in public. But when it's continuous, the kind most of us face day in and day out, it actually begins to change your brain. Chronic stress, like being overworked or having arguments at home, can affect brain size, its structure, and how it functions, right down to the level of your genes. Stress begins with something called the hypothalamus-pituitary-adrenal axis, a series of interactions between endocrine glands in the brain and on the kidney, which controls your body's reaction to stress. When your brain detects a stressful situation, your HPA axis is instantly activated and releases a hormone called cortisol, which primes your body for instant action. But high levels of cortisol over long periods of time wreak havoc on your brain. For example, Chronic stress increases the activity level and number of neural connections in the amygdala, your brain's fear center. And as levels of cortisol rise, electric signals in your hippocampus, the part of the brain associated with learning, memories, and stress control, deteriorate. The hippocampus also inhibits the activity of the HPA axis, so when it weakens, so does your ability to control your stress. That's not all though. Cortisol can literally cause your brain to shrink in size. Too much of it results in the loss of synaptic connections between neurons and the shrinking of your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that regulates behaviors like concentration, decision-making, judgment, and social interaction. It also leads to fewer new brain cells being made in the hippocampus. This means chronic stress might make it harder for you to learn and remember things, and also set the stage for more serious mental problems like depression and eventually Alzheimer's disease. The effects of stress may filter right down to your brain's DNA. An experiment showed that the amount of nurturing a mother rat provides its newborn baby plays a part in determining how that baby responds to stress later in life. The pups of nurturing moms turned out less sensitive to stress because their brains developed more cortisol receptors, which stick to cortisol and dampen the stress response. The pups of negligent moms had the opposite outcome, and so became more sensitive to stress throughout life. These are considered epigenetic changes, meaning that they affect which genes are expressed without directly changing the genetic code. And these changes can be reversed if the moms are swapped. But there's a surprising result. The epigenetic changes caused by one single mother rat were passed down to many generations of rats after her. In other words, the results of these actions were inheritable. It's not all bad news though. There are many ways to reverse what cortisol does to your stressed brain. The most powerful weapons are exercise and meditation, which involves breathing deeply and being aware and focused on your surroundings. Both of these activities decrease your stress and increase the size of the hippocampus, thereby improving your memory. So don't feel defeated by the pressures of daily life. Get in control of your stress before it takes control of you.
Okay, so the symptoms of stress. We know 4 symptoms of stress. What are they? Cognitive, emotional, physical, and behavioral stress. Let's give some examples of physical symptoms. Aches and pains, rapid heartbeat, weight gain or weight loss without change in diet, cold or sweaty hands, dry mouth, difficulty swallowing, hair loss, and so on. Cognitive symptoms: constant worrying, inability to focus, to concentrate, trouble learning new information, poor judgment, forgetfulness, nightmares, and etc. Emotional symptoms: depression, general unhappiness, low self-esteem, frequent crying spells, irritability or short temper. And behavioral symptoms: over or under-eating, sleeping too much or sleeping too little, aggression, hostility, problems in communication, nervous habits, and others. So, in conclusion, I want to say that stress affects us all. You may notice symptoms of stress when disciplining your kids during busy times at work, when managing your finance, or when coping with a challenging relationship. Stress is everywhere, and while a little stress is okay, some stress is actually beneficial. Too much stress can wear you down and make you sick, both mentally and physically. The first step to controlling stress is to know the symptoms of stress. But recognizing stress symptoms may be harder than you think. Most of us are so used to being stressed. We often don't know we are stressed until we are at the breaking point. There are given some tasks for you according to the theme stress and stress symptoms. The first task is vocabulary task. Here you have to match the 7 numbers with 7 letters from A to G. The next task is writing task. You have to answer the following 2 questions. The first question: imagine you are the student in the photo. How do you feel? And the second question: what advice would you give him? Write down the answers to these questions on your copybook. And then ask your friends or followers about the most stressful things in their lives and retell us. Thank you for your attention. Goodbye.